going back a little bit. I'm going back to Tov Kuf Yud Ches Sif Beis. Yeah. Okay. Aser liyisrael lahotzi shum davar b'Yom Tov letzarech eino Yehudi. You're not allowed to carry for a guy. Okay. Avo muter l'shloch lo yadei eino Yehudi ki god shetzarech lahachzir machshon le'eino Yehudi. Elam olim, there's a strong guy. Ukadayim, you're allowed to, if you're doing it for yourself, then you're allowed to do it. Now, the next halacha is on Yom Tov. There's this right so. The next halacha is a fascinating halacha. We're entering into the subject of muksa on Yom Tov. Now, I'm going to start off with a fascinating question that there's a lot written on the subject in the last 60 years. A sakin shel shchita is a kli, not kli shel chesaron kis. It's a kli that's called a chesaron kis. A person is very particular about it. He doesn't use it for cutting tomatoes or anything like that. And therefore, it's a kli that is a kli shel malach del iser, that you're miyached lo mokum, and it's muksa machzor chesaron kis. Okay, that's on Yom Tov, but I'm talking about regularly. What about on Yom Tov? What's its status on Yom Tov? Do I say that it goes by what it is all the time? We mentioned this idea about shoes on Yom Kippur. If they're called muksa, they're not called muksa. We discussed that at some point recently. I think it was in Tavshin Pevov. When I say Erev Tavshilin, I say it mufurish. I have a sakin and I'm ready to go.
You've done it before as well.
I've done it many times, but on Yom Tov, not on Yom. I've done it on Yom Tov, but I can't remember if I did it on Yom Tov. But in theory, I don't need it. Okay, well, I'm just saying I say it because you never know. If you don't say it, then you'll need it. That's the bottom line. So, therefore, I say it. Now, there are other things which people use that are not kalim. And I'm going to mention two things that come to mind that you probably will be extremely surprised about. According to many poskim, a kli chad pami is not a kli. Right? So, are you allowed to move it on Shabbos or not? How could that be? Okay, that's not exactly correct. I'm going to share with you something else. Okay, but I'll share with you something which is a very great discussion about liquid soap.
If you hold that, you could use it, or if you hold it,
if you could use it. What?
The Rav saying you could use it.
I'm not right now discussing that. I'm saying even if you hold it, you could use it, but it's not a kli, it's not a oichel. It doesn't fit into any of the boxes that it needs to fit into in order for it to be not muksa.
This that my das was for sure to use it on Shabbos is not enough.
That's not enough to make it not muksa. Perhaps it's enough that I could use it for that purpose. No, doesn't. What? Okay, I'm now going to, after I got you guys all riled up, I'd like to read the halacha, which you're going to see right now, and maybe we'll even have some understanding. In the olden times, they used to roast meat on a spit. You know what that means? What's it called? Shawarma. You know what shawarma is? You have the stick and you have the meat on it, and that's called a shpud. That's what it's called in the Gemara. So now, lokach etz she'enu meyuchud lashpud. It's not you didn't buy it in the Klebayit store in the shpud department. You just took a piece of wood you went to the forest and you found yourself a piece of wood and you use it. The tzala by basar, and you used it as a spit. I picked it up on Yom Tov and I used it. Asar letaltaloi achakach. You're not allowed to use it, to move it afterwards. She'eino kli. No. What does it say?
And since it's an kli and it's something that now becomes disgusting.
Doesn't say any of that. That's all you. Let's read what it says. Ella shamtoi umanicha b'keren zavis. You, because you're going to use it. No, you can't make a toothpick. But if you're going to be using it as a shpud, you're allowed to do that. But it becomes muksa afterwards, and you're allowed to put it in the corner so somebody doesn't get hurt by it. Because you're afraid that somebody is going to be hurt by it. So therefore you're allowed to put it in the corner. So here we see something which is muksa, that even though you're using it, you're planning on using it, that doesn't make it into a kli. Now I'm going to use another example of this, that we have this problem here in the shul, I would say about once a month. The front door to this shul is usually kept open by a rock that's placed there to keep that door open. If that rock was made into a door stopper permanently, that's 100% okay. But if I just go to the place in the back over there and I pick up a rock and I put it down over there, that rock is not a kli. And it doesn't become a kli just because I used it as a door stopper, and it's muksa. You have to be miyached. It's a question just for this Shabbos. There's a whole bunch of halachas to it. So, when are you picking it up? On Shabbos? No, you have to do it beforehand. Now, if you're doing it for it to be the permanent doorstop, that's fine. But if you're just using it chad pa'ami for that, it didn't become a doorstop. It's still a rock.
No, but next week you're going to buy a real doorstop and have someone drill it in.
Because you didn't make it. That's a question. If you need yichud oilam or yichud for that Shabbos, that's a Mitzvah Hashem will learn Shin Ches again, probably about another 40 years. Then, yeah, I know that, but that's a shaila in the Gemara. If yichud Shabbos is enough, that's a question. So these are situations of things which people use in a useful manner, and that's not necessarily enough.
A rock and a bottle of soap. That bottle of soap was created for use it. I don't know.
I'm going to answer.
Rock is like, okay, so people can't endorse that, but it could have been this rock or different rock.
Okay. Anything which has no longevity is not a kli. It does not have a life, right? So your liquid soap, you only use it once, and it goes right into the garbage. No, the soap. And therefore, it's not a kli, and it's not a oichel, so therefore it's a nothing. So you're allowed to use it for that purpose. But
there's no yichud oilam because it's eventually going to...
There is no oilam for it.
That's what I'm saying, because it's eventually going to get used up.
You're only using it once.
But it's...
No, that's not called yichud oilam. Okay? And therefore, I'm just saying, according to many poskim, you are not allowed to move your liquid soap if it's in the sun. You're not allowed to move it into the shade. If it's not for the purpose of washing dishes, it's muksa.
To wash dishes.
So that's for its tashmish, then you're allowed to do it. Whatever. It's not a kli. It's just so you have to learn when you learn all of Hilchos Muksa.
Yeah, it's like sand. Sand, you can't decide to wash your dishes with sand.
You can decide to wash your dishes with sand, and in fact, that's what your great grandmother did.
That's true, but if she picks up random sand that she didn't have in her house and didn't put it in the care of
she won't wash dishes with it either.
Okay,
I was there.
Sand that was the point is.
Okay. That's the bottom line. Now the Ramah over here says something which is extremely important, and I would like to share with you a very practical application of this. The Ramah says, "V'tzorich oichel nefesh muter letaltel hakol afilu muksa." Now, for oichel nefesh, you're allowed to be metaltel muksa. I'm going to share with you what Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach does with this Ramah, and I believe that many people are saimach on this without having any idea that there's a question. There are those people who light Shabbos candles, the Yom Tov candles, with neronim. Neronim are these wax things that you put them into the glass, and you light them, and they melt, and it turns into liquid paraffin, and like the wick sticks up in the middle. You know what I'm talking about?
Like the little fat guys.
Right. Okay. Now, what happens after the first day of Rosh Hashanah, when you have the second day of Rosh Hashanah, you have to take that disc out. That disc is muksa. How can you take that disc out? I will just tell you, when I give a shiur on this subject, this is what I say to do. You go to the hardware store and you buy washers. Metal washers, and you put them on the bottom of the thing, and you made a hagba'ah, and now you can put the new candle on a new shelf. You create it without having to remove the old one. Okay? It works.
You put the new candle, the first candle, on the washer.
You leave the candle that's there, that disc there, and you take a washer, and you put it.
You put a washer in the second day.
Yeah.
So the coke goes in the disc.
Right. Okay. And then you created a new flat surface for the thing to go on, and that's what I think the best thing to do is. The paiskim. No, it's a kli. So you're using tzarech gufa, right? That's not what tzarech gufa means. That's not what tzarech gufa means. Okay, I could use my pen to scratch my back. Okay, I could use my pen to scratch my back. I could use a washer to create a shelf in my cup. Okay, all right. So this is what people, someone asks me what to do. That's what I say. Now, why do I not say that you're allowed to take that away? Because there's a question, and this is a question from the questions of the last 60 years that drives people crazy. Why should you be allowed to light Yom Tov candles on Yom Tov altogether? We don't shut the lights off on Yom Tov. Okay. If you live in his house and you have all these devices, but for most of us, in our houses, we have electricity and we have plenty of light, and the candles that you light give off very little benefit. Is that enough to be mater? That's called tzorech oichel nefesh? I don't know if that's called tzorech oichel nefesh. That maybe it's okay. Now, Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says that that's enough, and therefore you're allowed to take something and take those discs out of the cup. But in my opinion, my idea is much better than his. It takes care of the whole problem. Right. That's because I'm not so sure that his answer takes care of the problem. Okay. But that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I'll just share with you. Okay, okay, maybe you don't need to light them. Then for sure you're not allowed to take out the discs, right? If you don't need to light them, then you should. Now, I will just say as follows: Is there such a mitzvah as lighting Yom Tov candles? Okay. I'm going to share with you the opinion of most poskim. There is no such mitzvah as lighting Yom Tov candles. Lighting Yom Tov candles is the exact same thing as lighting Shabbos candles. It's when there's an Isser Malacha, so you're supposed to light candles for your Suda. Okay? And there's no such mitzvah b'chlal as lighting Yom Tov candles. The reason why you make a bracha on it, it's the same thing, same bracha that you make when you light Shabbos candles. It's, just on Shabbos you say, like Neshel Shabbos, but it's not a Yom Tov b'dafka mitzvah, and this has a very important nafkamina to it, halacha l'maisa. A lady who has the minig to make a shehechiyanu when she lights candles, she's mechuyev to be makabel yontif when she lights the candles, because you can't make a shehechiyanu on the adloka because it's not a mitzvah. It's not a yontif mitzvah. Therefore, she has to either light without making a shehechiyanu, or make a shehechiyanu and be makabel yontif. That's a very important halacha for those who have that minig. I'll just share with you that if somebody asks me, I am an anti-ladies making a shehechiyanu on unexpected. Okay, I'll even read it to you. There's a fascinating piece on the side of Shulchan Aruch in Hilchos Adlakas Ner Shabbos, and I think it's worthwhile to share it with you because it gives you an appreciation of things that you would not have an appreciation for otherwise. Okay. I'm reading now a Chuvas Hayavitz. Yafa kiven la'arer al minig noshim hamevorchos shehechiyanu adlakas ner Yom Tov. Those who complain about ladies making a shehechiyanu when they light Yom Tov candles, good complaint. I accept the complaint. Okay? V'tainos of gedolos, and your complaints are correct. Machma shaloi niskar b'shum paisik, rak b'kitzer ashla devari lav bar samcha, except for the kitzer ashla who is not a opinion. V'oi deloi aduf mibrichas shehechiyanu da'asiyah sukkah. It's no better than the shehechiyanu on making the sukkah. And when do we make a shehechiyanu on making the sukkah? We put it into our Kiddush. V'anu samchim al Kiddush. V'avadai kush yetuva. The ma'id of yom amdi al daiti hayagam ken adover temur be'enai. And to me also, this complaint of yours, to me, has always been a problem. And I wanted to complain against my wife for doing something which I think is wrong. Okay, I'm not finished yet. Even though I felt my wife was doing the wrong thing, I didn't do anything. And this is the reason why I'm saying this over, because of this part. I let my wife continue doing that which she did. There's no isser in making a shehechiyanu then. Why? She's mechuyev to make the bracha. She doesn't have to be yotzi with her husband's shehechiyanu. The hani noshi hold the isnu b'shmira b'schira b'simchas yontif shita the boy bruche azman. They're mechuyev to make a shehechiyanu on yontif, so it's her mitzvah, and she can make it. When do we make a shehechiyanu on Yom Kippur? Attached to what? Nothing, right? Yeah, but it's not attached to any action or any mitzvah, because shehechiyanu, you can make it even, it doesn't have to be attached to anything. So the lady who's going to make a shehechiyanu when she lights candles and makabel yontif, she's no worse than you when you make your shehechiyanu after Kol Nidre. Yes.
The woman is potter.
No, but we just said she's chayiv because she's chayiv in the chelik of shmir of Yom Tov, so she's chayiv in just like she's chayiv in Kiddush. Okay, she's chayiv in this also.
So she can make it, but it's nothing to do with the candles.
Right. So she wants to do it together with the candles, so that's no worse than doing it without anything. Okay? The Kaimelon Zman Omra Afilu Bashuk. Ella Hecha Deika Ki. So when there's a kais, Samchin Allah, we do it on the kais because that's better. Mikal Mokum Havi Brocha Levatala. Mishum de Samchale Lalakas Ner Legara Bahachi V'Shapadami. The fact that she did it at that time.
No kashur. She wants to do it then.
No, but it's, at least you didn't do it with nothing. You did it at the time you're doing your mitzvah. That's better than nothing. No, it's a mitzvah to light. He's talking about before electricity. He was right? Yeah, okay. The kivan shubah mitchila obar mikra kovid Yom Tov v'simchasa when you're lighting candles, so it's okay to do it then. Ken al ken amarti la'atzmi hanach lehem in hagam sheyerusha lehem me'avasehem, or probably me'imasehem, yeah. V'asula b'fnei gedali olam, and nobody ever complained about this. Aval adayin lo reisi b'shum echad misifrei hapsak hamefursamim sheyizkeruhu. I didn't see anybody reliable who ever mentioned this minig. V'lochein kosher be'ena sheyase lehem anoshim minig la'atzmon b'li yesod musan. So they just made up a baba ma'isa.
Candle lighting started very recently.
No, the making the shehechiyanu with the candle lighting. That there's no precedent, halachic precedent for that. Umehai taima meikar loy shavkinan luho lemevar uvda ba'asa deloy nog. And therefore, I wouldn't allow in a place where a person doesn't have a minig, I wouldn't allow a person to do that. V'yofadam b'vali le'odef mizman d'sukkah, that you can make it even when you're building it. Umasha amok tzas loim nimbrichas hazman rishusi afilo kracharata v'chulu. And therefore, there's a whole piece on this. The bottom line is, he says that there's no source for it, but it works. So that's what I said. If somebody asks me,
that lady who has no minhag,
yeah, right. But if she did it, she didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. So if somebody asks me what to do, I say you shouldn't make a shehechiyanu when you light candles. But if somebody has that minhag, that's fine. I'm no worse than the Ivets. That's if you have that minhag, right? No, but we're discussing the subject of making the shehechiyanu when you... Okay, well, we do make a bracha when we light candles, right? So that means we do consider it a mitzvah. So at the end of the day, I cannot argue with somebody who that's what they do, because there's halachic non-basis to rely on. Okay? No, they're not doing anything wrong, and therefore we'll allow them to do it. And I just say, this is an important nakuda. I say this many times. A person has a mitzvah that they do, and they do it with vigor and interest. Let them be. If you can, let them be. All right? That's a very important idea. Next halacha. Mutter letaltel sulam shel shoivach mishoivach l'shoivach afilu b'shus harabim. There are different kinds of ladders that there were in the olden times. Nowadays, we don't have so many different kinds of ladders. We have two kinds of ladders. We have the step ladder, and we have the ladder that looks like a V, that you put both feet on both sides of it. And if you're a good guy, you know how to walk with it. That ladder is used when a person is working. You don't use that ladder to get things. You use that ladder when you're painting, when you're doing something. That's a melacha ladder. It's okay. And in the times of Chazal, they had also two different kinds of ladders, and ladders that were melacha ladders that they used to use to be latiach esgago. It means to put plaster on their roofs, you were not allowed to carry it from place to place because of Maris Ayin. We would assume that if you're carrying a plastering ladder, obviously you're plastering on Yom Tov, right? And therefore, even somebody in his own home cannot use such a ladder, because anything which is usher for Maris Ayin is usher afilu b'chedr chadorim. So, but if you have, right, okay. Now, if you don't have to move it, you just want to go up on the ladder, we'll see the Mishnah Berurah is going to discuss that issue. Maybe we should just stop over here. Okay, we'll continue here next time.